Welcome back to the channel, guys. It has been some time. We've been a little bit busy doing other things, predominantly doing podcasting. So thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed to the podcast. If you haven't already, link is going to be in the description box below. For you, those of you guys who have, I appreciate it so much for you sharing and spreading the love. So today, this YouTube video, we've got Will behind the camera. Welcome aboard as part of our fat little family here. Today we're going to go through a little bit of a workout. It's going to be a full body workout. Should we go check that out now? Let's go check it out. So this is the gym that I work out. It's Mingara on the central coast of New South Wales and Sydney, Australia. So this is the workout that we got. So it's a little bit scrappy, but it's basically a functional workout I went through when I was teaching a class that we have here. And this was it. So I'll let you sort of read through that in your own time. It absolutely sucked. I don't usually train this style a lot. So when I actually had to go through this workout, I felt like shooting myself in the face. And I ate like 30 minutes before. We have a rule in this room is if there's an odd number, then the instructor has to join in. So I had to do that, which fucking sucked. So today's workout, it's gonna be a little bit more of a strength component because I literally did that an hour ago, so I'm still pretty gassed. We're gonna go into a full body workout. We're gonna start off with some Romanian deadlifts, some barbell Romanian deadlifts. We're gonna do 6 working sets of Romanian deadlifts supersetted with a kettlebell Bulgarian split squat, but it's gonna be an ipsilateral loading. So whenever we look at loading our body, we've got contralateral, which is opposite side. So essentially, if I was doing a Bulgarian split squat and it was contralateral, it would be like this. Ipsilateral is like this. So we're gonna be going through that motion there. So we're gonna go through some of that, then we're gonna hit some chin-ups and a little bit of accessory stuff. I've got a fair amount of niggles and injuries, which I won't bore you with too much. So a lot of my workouts are sort of thinking about what I've got to work with on any particular day. We're gonna jump into this. So let's go have some run. Roll the footage. Hey, all right, mate? Oh, so you're in the wrong section. So basically, just let me know when I can start chatting.
Oh, you can go.
Oh, okay. We're warming up. The way I like to warm up, I'll generally start with around 6 reps. So if we're looking at a 1 rep max or 100% of your maximum, I like warming up at around 6 reps at around 60% of my 1 RM. From there, I go into 3 reps and then sort of 2 to 3 reps of about 3 or 4 sets until I build up to my actual working weight. These are all just warm-up sets. Remember, when we're trying to warm up, we're trying to create this neurological stimulus. We try to warm up our nervous system as well as our cellular system or our muscular system as well, but we don't want to create too much lactate into our muscles, right? So we don't want to fatigue before we start working. That's why again, my personal opinion, don't like the, sort of 20, 15, 10, 8 rep range, rep scheme to just warm up with. I think it's just pointless. I'd rather spend a little bit more time stimulating your nervous system so that we can actually lift a heavier load without creating a lot of lactate or fatigue in the muscle. So right now, we're just going to go 3 reps here. Again, still staying tight onto the bar. Whenever we're picking that bar up, we're going to keep it on our quads the entire time. It never leaves our legs. Imagine you're shaving your legs with a bar. You can't shave your legs with the weights this far away. So we're taking hold. We're locking in those lats. So we're retracting and depressing. Chest, torso upright. Stand up. Little shuffle back. Stay as close to the pins as you can. And we hinge from that hip. Going down nice and low. Back up, glutes tight. Again, we're challenging the hamstring in their length. So here, that's where it's most challenging. Least challenging up here, okay? So we're just going 3 reps. And we're coming up and that feels heavy today. Same thing with the Bulgarian split squats. Just gonna go 3 reps on each leg, just focusing on form, trying to improve skill acquisition of the movement. So we're going slow enough so that our brain and our body can figure out what the hell we're trying to tell it to do. And it's one of the reasons I like working ipsilaterally. We're challenging the body, we're challenging stability as a big element here. Load isn't always king. It is if you want to try and get strong, but if we're trying to improve things like stability, injury prevention, then working things like single limbs or working ipsilaterally and trying to challenge stability and coordination is a really, really good idea. So again, with here, we're just going 3 reps. This kettlebell's heavier than I thought it was, but we've picked it now, so we're gonna go with it. So here, torso stays upright because we'll try to go more of a quad-focused movement. So torso staying upright, try to drive this knee as far past that toe as we possibly can, and then again, driving hard into the floor. When you're standing up, I want you to think about doing a leg press into the floor, okay? So we're controlling down, we're driving back up. If we wanted a little bit more glute in this one, we would hinge more from our hip on this other side though, because this is the leg that's down. So we're hinging, so that'd be a bit more glute, but we want to stay a bit more upright and get a little bit more quad focus in there. Recovery time is going to depend on a lot of different factors. It's going to depend on your trainability, how long you've been training, beginner, intermediate, advanced training, how much total volume you're used to. Say for example, if you're used to working 10 sets per body part per week, and 1 week you just decide I'm just going to do 25 because you've worked out with a friend or something like that, your body's not going to be used to that stimulus, so it's probably going to take a little bit longer to recover. Alternatively, if you're used to doing really high volume, you're more likely to recover from that. For example, we're doing 2 workouts today, which I don't normally do, and it's such a very, it's within an hour of each other. So I'm not really recovered. This is why I've got a carb drink over here, which we can talk about in a second. But generally what I give is, if you're going to do 2 workouts, do one in the AM and one in the PM. At least sort of 4 to 6 hours in between is going to be a really good rate of recovery. I mean, your second workout is still going to lack. It's not going to be the best one. So I would focus on, if you're going to do 2 workouts in a day, the first workout, make it your primary workout. So the exercises you really, really want to focus on, get good at, or the sport you want to train and get good at. And then the second one is just more accessory stuff. So, you know, for example, if you are competing in, say, a powerlifting competition, do a lot of your strength, heavy neurologically taxing work in the morning, and then do your higher volume stuff, accessory, in the afternoon. I mentioned a carb powder drink. So this is just some cyclic dextrin. And basically, from what we know is that sort of when we're working out around 90 minutes plus of intense workouts, our glycogen storage from our muscle tissue, so essentially the sugar that we use for energy, our muscle starts to deplete a significant amount. And just having a carb powder, especially working out sort of 90 minutes plus, helps you to keep those stores relatively topped up. They're still going to be continuously depleted, but gives you enough to keep a relative amount of intensity in your workouts. Are they necessary? Absolutely not. Again, for today, I'm only having it because I worked out less than an hour ago. It's my second workout, so I'm very, very depleted, which is why this is going to help a hell of a lot. If you've got a ton of calories to play with, for example, it's a good idea to get a lot of calories in, like while you're working out. Plus, it's in a liquid form, so it digests really, really quickly as well. So that's why when carb powders can be a good idea. If you're a skinny guy, for example, you're looking to get jacked and you need extra calories, good idea to sip on one of these during your workout. Again, it's going to help you work out harder, create more metabolic or muscular damage, therefore instilling more growth as well. And it's also going to help you with recovery as well. And it's delicious. So. My bone density is high, all right? That's why I'm shit at pull-ups. I'm real heavy from sort of ass down. So where all my genetics went, I think it's from a combination of bone density, wink wink, bullshit answer, and I don't work on them a lot either. So for you guys who are struggling with exercise, a tip is increase frequency. Do them more often. Do them at the start of your workout. That's going to help. You can have more energy. Cognitively, you're going to be a bit more aware, a bit more focused from a coordination, stability, strength perspective. So you're more likely to get stronger, faster. Think of something like a pull-up, any exercise really. Skill acquisition is a really important part of it. You're teaching the body to learn the skill of the movement. It's like when you go for your driving test. You're not good to start with. You're like, oh fucking hell, what's going on? Look in my rearview mirror and turn and indicate and all this sort of crap. It's like that, right? That's what you try to do to your body when you try and learn a new movement. We try to go, hey, here's this really complex thing. Do it. Doing it at the start of the workout and doing it a lot and often, you'll learn faster. So, try that out. Knees in the shoulder. Whenever you're doing something like that, or a push-up variation, it's important to try and keep your pec contracted as much as you possibly can. So with Parellette, gripping as tight as you can, but also imagine you're trying to take your palms and drive them in together as much as you can, just to keep your boobies activated. And if you're feeling sort of any niggles here, in that sort of front part of your glenohumeral, your shoulder joint, this AC area. Don't go quite as low. Putting too much stress on the joint there is not what we want. Remember, working out with pain, not a natural thing. We don't want to do that. Cellular, muscular, we want all this in the belly, surrounding areas of our muscle. We don't want it in the joints. No pain, no gain. It's not my thing, but if you want that, fine. But again, relative, right? It's contextual. No pain, no gain. Muscular pain, working the heart and lung capacity when you're fucked, going after a big run. That's cool. Like, keep pushing through that. We want to create adaptation. We only adapt to the stimulus that we give ourselves, right? So if the stimulus is quote unquote easy, the adaptation is not going to be quite as great. We're not going to get there any faster to where we want to be. We're not going to get better. We're not going to get stronger. We're not going to get faster. We're not going to get leaner. But the more we can push our boundaries or our limits, the faster we will grow. Like, some people have this excessive mindset, me and myself included, this extreme mindset of we have to be going to the utmost sort of extreme end of the spectrum. We need to keep going there and keep pushing our limits, which again can be quite good when we're looking to challenge ourselves for a difficult goal. Everything is sort of has this yin and yang effect, right? Having that type of mindset can also come at your detriment because you can push yourself way too far. Even though you know it hurts, you refuse to give up. You're like, no, fuck it, I'm gonna keep going. I have to finish this. And it's cool and it feels good and your ego gets a massive boost. But at some point, it's the sort of law of diminishing returns. Like, at some point, something's going to break. And it ain't going to be the bar. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be the dumbbell or the kettlebell, which is what I do a lot, which is why I'm always injured and niggly. But at some point, I will learn my lesson and I will start taking care of my body. Single arm overhead shoulder press. I'll put the workout in the link below. I like holding on to one of these. Any sort of upright structure, just this added element of stability. Again, know the outcome. Whenever we're working out, like, it's all well and good to look at a workout or an exercise and go, ooh, that's difficult, so it must be good. Just because something's hard doesn't make it necessarily beneficial for you. You know, so I like doing this. It adds this element of stability here. Body feels stabilized, and I can load this side of my body really well without worrying about going, oh shit, like I can't stabilize too much, because that's not the goal. I don't want to challenge stability in this particular exercise. I want to make sure that I can generate as much force as I can, loading this single side of my body and then loading this single side of my body, try and create some sort of balance unilaterally. So that's why I like using something like an upright. So always know the reason why you're doing what you're doing. No exercise, I guess, is inherently bad, but knowing your outcome will help you get to your goal faster, because you know exactly what the hell you're doing and how to get there in terms of a very structured path. But also knowing your outcome gives you a purpose in your training, rather than just getting up and going, oh, I'm doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Again, which is cool if you've not got a specific goal. I don't have a specific goal right now, but I know that I still want to get stronger. So knowing the outcome is going to help you achieve your goal a little bit faster, but it's also going to allow you to know your why and give you a little bit more purpose as well. So workout is done, so we hit a little bit of everything. Posterior chain, so hamstring, glutes, spinal erectors, we hit some quads, we hit some chest, we hit some back, we hit some shoulders up in there. Today's workout was a little bit random because I'd already trained just beforehand, so I was essentially trying to hit muscle groups that I haven't hit in a day or so. Now what we're going to do, we're going to head home, we're going to go into our whiteboard session with Professor Abby. We'll meet him a little bit later, and we're going to talk all about recovery protocols. So see you there. So here we are at home, whiteboard session, Professor Khan at your service. We're about to go through how do we actually get better recovery. So we're going to go through a few things now on the whiteboard, and these, you've got to remember, are going to be very independent of person to person. So these are the rough figures, what science tells us, but every person's going to be that little bit different. The first thing we're going to touch on is sleep. So sleep, generally around anywhere from 7 to 9 hours is good for most people. The more intense your training, we err onto the upper end of this. So 9, even 10 hours is really good for things like professional athletes. Not that you should err towards the lower end if you're not that active. We should still try to get as much as we possibly can, but this is sort of the bare minimum. To optimize performance, you got to remember that lack of sleep is going to disrupt hormonal function and hormonal patterns throughout the day. Things like melatonin, cortisol, testosterone all have their
spikes and their peaks throughout the day. If we're not sleeping well, we're confusing the hell out of our body and our circadian rhythms when it comes to melatonin of what's meant to be produced at certain times. Secondly, sleep in a dark room. We have sensors in our skin that when light hits it, it doesn't necessarily have to hit our eyes. We start to diminish the production of melatonin, start to secrete things like cortisol. We start to wake up and produce energy because we think it's daytime. Also, no blue light 1 to 2 hours before we go to bed. So things like this fluorescent light messes up our circadian rhythm. Again, our body thinks it's the middle of the day, so it wants to secrete hormones that we need to fight or flight, to use energy for hunting, gathering, living life, etc. Secondly, nutrients. So the quality of nutrients is going to be super important. So it's not enough to go, okay, well, I'm going to have something to eat. We need to get a certain amount of quality of nutrients. We're talking good quality meats, fishes, vegetables, fruits, things of that nature. When we're looking at quality, we delve a little bit deeper, going to particularly protein. This one needs to be optimized for cellular growth and recovery. So anywhere from sort of 1.6 to 2.5 grams per kilo seems to be a really good figure to fit within to hit your recovery goals. Generally, females tend to struggle getting this in, so aim towards the lower end, start with and slowly build up. Guys usually don't have a problem. You can even go above that, but this again is a good guideline to sit into. Hydration, super important as well. It doesn't just prevent us from being dehydrated, but it also drives nutrients into our cells, into our muscles, into our brain, into the parts of our body that actually needs those nutrients. So training is our next pillar. Again, this is my opinion. I think these are super important. So potentially too much volume. So for example, if you are training, if you're not tracking volume, that's an issue in itself. You might have been training for the last 3 months with around 12 sets per body part per week. And then for whatever reason, you might go, you know what? I'm going to start training more intensely. And for 2 weeks, you start to do 25 sets per body part per week. Like that might be too much training. You might not give your body enough time to adapt to that particular stimulus, which is going to cause your recovery rate to go down. So monitor your volume. I'll put yoga up here. Yoga is something that I think most people, yoga, Pilates, things like that most people need to get into, especially to increase range of motion. We don't generally go from a day-to-day basis, go through a full, complete range of motion, completely stretching and contracting our muscle tissues. And some people don't do it during their workouts as well, which is a big issue, especially if you want to grow and get stronger, etc. So yoga is going to play a big part in that because it allows you to get to those end ranges and hold those isometrically, which we don't do again a lot in day-to-day life. Parasympathetic state. So this is basically getting into more of a rest and relaxed state. So this could mean lots of different things. Yoga being one of them, going for a walk, something that's very, very low intensity. We want to optimize recovery, and this parasympathetic state is essentially our recovery state. So things like doing yoga, things like reading, having a hobby, taking the dogs for a walk. All of these things are going to get your body into this parasympathetic or this rest and relax state, which is going to optimize recovery. And lastly, but probably most importantly, to be honest, is health. Is our health markers, particularly looking at things like objective and subjective, basically our opinion on things, how we feel, and then also the markers that, regardless of our opinion, they are what they are, i.e. blood pressure being one of them. Now, I'm pretty sure that the gold standard right now is 115/75, systolic and diastolic of blood pressure. Check with your doctor that. You can get this done. I mean, you can get it done at some place at your local chemist for free. They just have blood pressure cuffs hanging around. You can buy one. I bought a blood pressure cuff from eBay for like $40, which again is good enough. It's not perfect, but again, it's good enough rather than having nothing. Energy levels. This is another metric that going off the way we feel, if you feel that you're depleted in energy, then these factors need to be addressed. Maybe you're training too much volume, you're not spending enough time in a parasympathetic or a rest and relaxed state. Maybe the quality of your nutrients is poor, you're not hydrated enough. This was probably a big one for most of you guys. In terms of sleep, maybe you're not getting these things here. So when there is an issue there, we need to really be open and honest with ourselves of, okay, I get that I might necessarily not be feeling super energetic, but what are the other metrics mean? Like your resting heart rate is important as well. There's plenty, your HRV, there's plenty of other markers that you can go into if you want to delve that deep, which are super crucial. But these are the main ones. Focusing on these will generally take care of health. So just focus on that if you don't want to, put too much effort into this. So hopefully that helps. And guys, that is the end of the vlog. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you want to see any specifics, sorry, I just stared out the window. There's a bird that comes around twice a day, but it attacks itself like its image, its mirror image, its reflection, that's the word. Twice a day, it comes in, attacks it, and then it just pisses off. It's crazy birds in Australia. It is true that everything literally wants to kill you or kill itself. So that's the end of the vlog, guys. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Again, it does help the channel grow. The workout stuff is going to be below. The links to the podcast. So I do have a podcast as well, guys. The link to go check that out is going to be below as well. Go visit my website if you want any more information on training programs, anything of that nature. But most importantly, I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Me and Will are going to be creating some magic. He's the genius behind the camera. We're going to be creating these on a consistent basis. I'm really looking forward to getting back into this YouTube thing. If you want to see anything specific, leave us a comment below. Love to hear from you. And aside from that, stay safe, stay healthy. Have a great day.